In a world filled with chaos, anxiety, and constant distractions, the pursuit of inner peace has never been more urgent. Many people are searching for a way to quiet the storm within, to find that elusive place of calm, where the mind can rest and the heart can be still. We are living in 2024, a time of unprecedented uncertainty, whether it's the global political climate, personal struggles, or the ever-present pull of technology. For many, the question is, how do we achieve peace in the midst of all this? How do we cope with the stress and the noise and find true inner tranquility? Two practices have stood out over centuries as methods for attaining inner peace: Psalm 23 and Buddhist Mindfulness. Both are spiritual practices that promise comfort, peace, and rest for the weary soul. But they come from very different worldviews. Psalm 23, found in the Christian Bible, offers a vision of peace rooted in faith, trust, and surrender to God's guidance. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." It's a message of comfort, a reminder that in the midst of life's challenges, God is with us, providing, protecting, and leading us. On the other hand, Buddhist mindfulness teaches a different path to peace, one that focuses on being present in the moment, observing thoughts and feelings without attachment, and cultivating an inner state of calm and clarity through meditation and self-awareness. But here's the big question. Which of these practices brings more inner peace in 2024? Is it the deep, trusting faith in God's guidance, as presented in Psalm 23? Or is it the self-aware, mindful approach to stilling the mind, as emphasized in Buddhist teachings? In this video, we'll explore both of these powerful spiritual practices and compare their approach to finding peace. We'll delve into the meaning of Psalm 23, unpack the essence of Buddhist mindfulness, and examine how these paths to peace align or differ in today's fast-paced world. Through this exploration, we'll seek to understand not just which practice is more effective, but how both can offer valuable insights into the pursuit of peace in our modern lives. So whether you're a devout Christian seeking deeper understanding of Psalm 23 or someone curious about the growing influence of mindfulness, this conversation is for you. Let's dive into these two timeless paths to inner peace and uncover the wisdom they offer for a world in desperate need of calm. The desire for inner peace is something we all share, regardless of our background, culture, or belief system. It's a universal longing, one that transcends time and circumstance. In 2024, when the world feels more turbulent than ever, we find ourselves looking for a way to still the storm inside. Whether we're grappling with personal struggles, facing societal unrest, or simply feeling overwhelmed by the pace of modern life, we all crave a moment of peace, a break from the constant noise and chaos. The need for peace has always been with us, but in today's world it seems more urgent. We are constantly bombarded by information, notifications, and external pressures. The demands of work, family, and social expectations can create a sense of disconnection and burnout. In the midst of this, inner peace becomes not just a luxury, but a necessity. Without it, we feel lost, anxious, and disconnected from ourselves. We seek refuge in all sorts of places. Some turn to distractions, others to material wealth, some to escapism or entertainment. But these solutions only offer temporary relief. True inner peace, the kind that transcends circumstances and provides a lasting sense of calm, can only come from a deeper place, a place that goes beyond external fixes. This is where spiritual practices come into play. In times of inner turmoil, people often turn to spiritual practices for help, guidance, and solace. These practices have been passed down through generations because they offer something that material solutions cannot. They offer a way to connect with the inner self and a higher power, leading to a peace that cannot be shaken by the storms of life. Psalm 23 and Buddhist mindfulness are two of the most powerful paths to peace, though they approach the idea of peace from very different angles. One is rooted in the Christian faith, focused on surrendering to God's will and trusting in His provision, while the other emphasizes mindfulness, presence, and non-attachment to thoughts and emotions. Psalm 23 is deeply personal and relational, speaking to the trust and comfort found in a relationship with God. It paints a vivid picture of God as a shepherd, guiding His flock through both calm and dangerous times, providing peace through His presence and care. It's a message of trust that, no matter what life throws our way, we can rely on God to provide, protect, and lead us through it all. And on the other hand, Buddhist mindfulness teaches that peace comes from within. It's a practice of self-awareness, of learning to live fully in the present moment, observing our thoughts without judgment or attachment, and cultivating a state of equanimity and inner balance. It's not about seeking external control or intervention, but about finding stillness in the midst of the internal chaos. Both paths offer their own distinct ways of attaining peace, but they also share some common ground. They each teach us to let go of things we cannot control. They each encourage us to release our anxieties, whether it's by placing trust in God's plan or by learning to observe our thoughts without becoming overwhelmed by them. But the question remains, which one offers more lasting peace in today's world? Let's take a closer look at Psalm 23 and explore how this ancient scripture speaks to the need for inner peace in our modern lives. Psalm 23 is one of the most beloved passages in the Bible. It's often read at funerals, in moments of despair, and whenever someone needs reassurance that God is present and faithful. The words are simple, yet profound. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. These words set the tone for the entire psalm, speaking to the deep trust in God's provision and care. The image of God as a shepherd is one that resonates deeply with Christians. Shepherds were known for their intimate care of their sheep, guiding them to safe pastures and protecting them from harm. In a similar way, Psalm 23 invites us to trust in God's ability to guide us, to provide for us, and to protect us in every season of life. The idea of not wanting might seem strange in a world that constantly tells us to strive for more, to never settle, and to always want more material possessions or accomplishments. But in Psalm 23, the idea of not wanting goes beyond material needs. It speaks to a peace that transcends the pursuit of external desires. When we trust in God as our shepherd, we can experience contentment, knowing that He has already provided for our deepest needs. This doesn't mean that we won't face challenges or difficulties, but it does mean that we can face them with the confidence that God is with us, guiding us through. As we continue through Psalm 23, we encounter other powerful images of peace. The psalm speaks of being led beside still waters and being restored in soul. This imagery of peace is not just about physical rest, but also about spiritual renewal. It's about being in a place where we can truly rest, both physically and mentally, knowing that God is in control. In a world that constantly demands more from us, the invitation to rest beside still waters is a radical one. It calls us to let go of our striving and to simply be present with God, allowing Him to restore our souls. This is the peace that comes from trusting in God's provision and His ability to renew us in ways that nothing else can. In times of difficulty, Psalm 23 reminds us that we do not have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death alone. Even in our darkest moments, God is with us, providing comfort and guidance. This promise of God's presence is what makes Psalm 23 so comforting. It speaks to the reality of life's hardships, but it also speaks to the unwavering presence of God in the midst of those hardships. For the Christian, peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of God in the struggle. It's about knowing that even in the midst of life's most difficult moments, we are not alone. This is the peace that Psalm 23 offers, a peace rooted in the presence and faithfulness of God. Psalm 23 teaches us that peace comes not from external circumstances, but from trusting in God's guidance, His provision, and His presence. In the modern world, where so many people are overwhelmed by the pressures of life, Psalm 23 offers a simple yet powerful reminder that peace is found in trusting God. It's a peace that can't be shaken by the ups and downs of life, because it is rooted in the unchanging faithfulness of God. The key to inner peace, according to Psalm 23, is not in controlling our circumstances, but in trusting God to guide us through them. Now, let's turn our attention to Buddhist mindfulness and explore how it offers a path to inner peace. Mindfulness, as taught in Buddhism, is about being fully present in the moment, without judgment or attachment to thoughts, feelings, or external circumstances. It is the practice of observing one's thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them, allowing them to pass by like clouds in the sky. The goal of mindfulness is to cultivate an inner state of calm and clarity, free from the distractions and disturbances of the mind. Mindfulness is a practice that has become increasingly popular in the West, not just within Buddhist circles, but also in secular contexts. People use mindfulness techniques in therapy, meditation, and daily life to reduce stress and increase emotional well-being. At its core, mindfulness is about cultivating awareness of the present moment, awareness of one's thoughts and feelings, and awareness of the impermanence of all things. It teaches us to let go of attachment to things, people, and even ourselves, in order to experience true peace. In Buddhist teachings, suffering is an inevitable part of life. It is caused by attachment, craving, and the desire for things to be different from what they are. Mindfulness offers a way to alleviate suffering by helping us detach from these desires and attachments. By practicing mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. This allows us to create space between ourselves and our reactions, enabling us to respond with greater clarity and compassion. This process of detachment does not mean we stop caring about the world or our loved ones, but rather that we learn not to be controlled by our desires or our fears. In comparison to Psalm 23, Buddhist mindfulness offers a more self-reliant path to peace. While Psalm 23 encourages trust in God's provision and guidance, mindfulness invites us to cultivate inner stillness through our own awareness and mental discipline. Both practices lead to peace, but the means by which peace is attained differ. Mindfulness emphasizes mental training and self-awareness, while Psalm 23 emphasizes faith in God's care and trust in His plan. Both offer valuable insights into the pursuit of peace, but they approach it from different angles. One from a place of surrender to God's will, and the other from a place of self-awareness and letting go of attachment. As we continue to explore the profound teachings of Psalm 23 and Buddhist mindfulness, it becomes clear that they are rooted in distinct foundations. Yet both offer pathways to the inner peace we all desperately seek. To fully understand their differences, we need to look at how they approach the central question of peace. Where does true peace come from, and how is it sustained? Psalm 23 is fundamentally relational. It invites us into a deep, trusting relationship with God, the shepherd, who leads, guides, and provides for His people. The peace it offers is one that comes from knowing we are cared for by someone greater than ourselves. In Psalm 23, the peace is found in surrendering to God's will and trusting that He will lead us through the darkness. It's the kind of peace that says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." It's not a peace that avoids life's hardships, but one that walks through them with the assurance that God is present and guiding every step. Buddhist mindfulness, on the other hand, is not about surrendering to a higher power, but cultivating an awareness of the present moment and detaching from the ego. Mindfulness teaches that peace is not something external we must rely on, but something internal we can cultivate through awareness, presence, and acceptance of impermanence. The central tenet of mindfulness is to observe one's thoughts and feelings without judgment or attachment. It's a practice of being fully present without becoming entangled in the stories our minds create. This allows us to experience peace by simply being, without the need to change or control anything outside ourselves. When we compare these two practices, the most significant difference lies in the role of the self. Psalm 23 calls us to trust in God's provision and protection, surrendering ourselves to His will. The peace it offers is rooted in the relationship with God, in knowing that we are His beloved children, and that He will guide us through every trial. This peace is not dependent on the circumstances of life, but on the unshakable trust that God is with us through it all. The emphasis is on faith and reliance on God's guidance. In contrast, Buddhist mindfulness focuses on the cultivation of inner peace through self-awareness and mental discipline. It emphasizes the importance of detaching from desires, fears, and attachments to the self, recognizing that these attachments lead to suffering. The peace found in mindfulness is a peace that arises when we stop clinging to our own thoughts, desires, and expectations, and simply observe the flow of life with equanimity. It's a peace that comes from within, through mental training and mindfulness practices. While both practices lead to peace, they do so in different ways. Psalm 23 offers peace through trust and surrender to God's guidance, while Buddhist mindfulness offers peace through mental discipline and detachment from attachment. In today's world, many people struggle with anxiety, stress, and a sense of disconnection. Psalm 23 offers a clear path to peace through faith, while mindfulness offers a secular and self-directed path to peace through awareness. For those seeking a deeper relationship with God, Psalm 23 provides comfort and reassurance in the midst of life's struggles. For those looking for a mental tool to reduce anxiety and cultivate a sense of calm, mindfulness provides an effective and practical approach. One important aspect to consider is how each practice addresses personal suffering. Psalm 23 does not ignore the reality of suffering. It acknowledges that we will walk through valleys of darkness and face times of fear. However, the peace it offers is not one that escapes suffering, but one that meets it with faith and trust in God's presence. The peace in Psalm 23 is found in the knowledge that God is with us, even in the darkest times. It is a peace that does not take away the difficulty, but transforms it by giving us the strength to endure and the hope of eventual restoration. Buddhist mindfulness, on the other hand, teaches that suffering is an inevitable part of life, and that peace is found through accepting suffering and letting go of attachment. The Buddhist path to peace involves recognizing that suffering arises from attachment to desires, expectations, and the self. Through mindfulness, we learn to observe suffering without becoming consumed by it, allowing it to pass through us without resistance. The goal of mindfulness is not to eliminate suffering, but to transform our relationship to it, so that it no longer holds the power to disturb our inner peace. This approach allows individuals to find peace, even in the midst of difficult circumstances, by changing their mental and emotional responses. Both approaches offer valuable insights into the human experience of suffering and peace. While Psalm 23 teaches us to trust in God's presence and guidance through our suffering, mindfulness teaches us to accept and detach from suffering by changing our relationship to it. For many, the challenge is not about choosing one path over the other, but understanding how both can be integrated into their lives. In some ways, mindfulness can complement the peace found in Psalm 23 by helping individuals cultivate awareness and presence in their daily lives, while Psalm 23 offers a deeper spiritual foundation for peace through faith. The key takeaway here is that both Psalm 23 and Buddhist mindfulness offer peace, but they do so from different angles. Psalm 23 offers peace through trust in God's provision and presence, while mindfulness offers peace through self-awareness and detachment from attachment. Each path has its strengths and can be applied in different ways depending on one's personal journey and beliefs. When we consider the peace of Psalm 23 in the context of today's world, we are reminded of the importance of faith in overcoming the anxiety and fear that pervade modern life. The promise of God's presence, His care and His guidance offer a peace that is deeply rooted in the Christian understanding of God's sovereignty. In contrast, mindfulness offers a mental tool for cultivating calm and clarity, which can be particularly helpful in the context of secular life, or in moments of stress when one may not have immediate access to spiritual practices. Both paths lead us to the same goal: inner peace. But the way they arrive there differs. Psalm 23 teaches us to surrender to God's will and trust that He will lead us through life's difficulties, while mindfulness teaches us to cultivate mental discipline and self-awareness to create peace from within. Both paths are valuable, and the choice between them depends on your individual spiritual needs, your understanding of the self, and your journey toward peace. In the next section, we'll explore how both practices are applied in everyday life and how they can be lived out, offering us practical ways to experience peace in our modern, fast-paced world. Whether you find peace in surrendering to God's guidance through Psalm 23 or cultivating mindfulness in your daily routine, both offer powerful tools for creating a sense of calm and tranquility. Let's explore how these practices come to life and how they can help us find peace no matter what 2024 throws our way. When we look at the role of surrender in Psalm 23, we see a clear invitation to release control and place our trust fully in God. The psalm is not merely a poetic expression of peace. It is a profound call to surrender ourselves into God's care. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." This verse encapsulates the idea that peace is found when we stop striving and allow God to lead us. To surrender in this context means to acknowledge that we are not in control of every circumstance. It's a call to trust in God's ability to provide for us, protect us, and guide us, even when we can't see the way forward. Surrendering to God's will is not a passive act. It requires an active choice to trust, to let go of the need to control every detail of life, and to trust that God is ultimately in charge. This surrender doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or passivity in our actions. Rather, it's about surrendering the outcome and trusting that God will guide us. In a world that constantly tells us to control our circumstances, this surrender offers a radical form of peace, one that doesn't depend on our efforts or the conditions around us, but on God's sovereignty and faithfulness. In the middle of life's struggles, surrendering to God's will offers a sense of peace that transcends understanding. The psalmist says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. This is where peace is truly found, in knowing that we are not alone, that God walks with us through our darkest times. Surrendering to God's presence in the valley does not mean the absence of fear or pain, but it means that we can face those things with the assurance that God is with us, guiding us, comforting us. This is the peace of Psalm 23, a peace that comes from trusting in God's presence, even in the most difficult circumstances. Buddhist mindfulness also teaches a form of letting go, but from a different perspective. A mindfulness encourages the release of attachment to thoughts, emotions, and desires. It teaches that suffering arises when we cling to these things, when we become attached to outcomes, expectations, or even to our own identity. Through mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts without becoming consumed by them. We learn to be present with what is, without judgment or attachment. In this sense, mindfulness offers a form of peace that is rooted in detachment, a letting go of the need to control our internal world. Where Psalm 23 teaches us to surrender to God's will, mindfulness teaches us to let go of our attachment to the self. Mindfulness asks us to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them, allowing them to come and go like clouds in the sky. This practice helps us detach from the constant mental chatter and emotional turmoil that often cloud our peace. By learning to be fully present in the moment, we create space between ourselves and our reactions, allowing us to respond with calm and clarity. Both practices emphasize letting go, but they do so in different ways. Psalm 23 calls us to surrender to God's guidance and care, while mindfulness calls us to detach from the ego and the self. In both cases, the goal is peace. Peace that comes not from controlling our circumstances or ourselves, but from letting go of our need to control and trusting in a higher power. Whether we surrender to God's will, as Psalm 23 invites us to do, or practice detachment through mindfulness, both paths lead to a deeper sense of peace that transcends the turbulence of our minds and the circumstances of our lives. When we look at how both practices are lived out in daily life, we can see the tangible impact they have on our peace of mind and overall well-being. Psalm 23 invites us to live with a constant awareness of God's presence and provision. In practical terms, this means bringing our daily concerns, anxieties, and desires before God and trusting Him to guide us. It means seeking peace through prayer, meditation on Scripture, and reflecting on God's faithfulness in the past. The daily application of Psalm 23 is a constant reminder that God is with us and that we can trust Him in every situation. In the midst of a busy, stress-filled life, Psalm 23 offers us a way to quiet our hearts and minds. By remembering that God is our shepherd, we can find peace in the knowledge that He is leading us. This doesn't mean that life becomes free of difficulty, but it means that we can walk through life with the assurance that God is walking with us. The more we embrace the truth of Psalm 23, the more we can rest in God's care, finding peace even in the most stressful situations. Mindfulness, on the other hand, is a practice that can be applied throughout the day, in every moment. It is about cultivating presence and awareness, whether we're eating, working, or interacting with others. The core of mindfulness is learning to be fully engaged in the present moment, without distraction or judgment. This is done through practices like meditation, but also through simple awareness in daily activities. For example, when we're eating, mindfulness encourages us to focus on the taste, texture, and sensation of the food, rather than being distracted by thoughts about the past or future. It's about being present with whatever we're doing, without trying to change or control it. Mindfulness also helps us deal with stress in a different way. Rather than pushing through difficult emotions or trying to avoid them, Mindfulness teaches us to acknowledge them without judgment. If we're feeling anxious, we observe the feeling of anxiety without getting caught up in it. We allow it to be there, but we don't let it control us. This practice helps us create a sense of inner calm and balance, even in the midst of stressful situations. It's a peace that comes from observing our thoughts and emotions, rather than being swept away by them. Both practices, Psalm 23 and Buddhist Mindfulness, offer us tools to bring peace into our daily lives. For Christians, Psalm 23 provides a powerful reminder of God's presence and provision, allowing us to find peace by surrendering to His care. Mindfulness, on the other hand, provides a practical method for cultivating peace through awareness and detachment from the self. Both practices offer valuable insights into how we can live with greater peace in a world that is often filled with distractions and turmoil. When we compare the two, it's clear that both have their unique strengths. Psalm 23 offers peace through trust in God's guidance and provision, while mindfulness offers peace through self-awareness and mental discipline. The Christian faith calls us to surrender to God's will and trust in His plan, while mindfulness calls us to detach from the ego and the mind's constant chatter. Both lead to peace, but they approach it from different angles. For many, the practice of both can be complementary. The inner peace cultivated through mindfulness can enhance the trust and surrender found in Psalm 23, while the peace of Psalm 23 can deepen the sense of calm and clarity found through mindfulness. As we consider which practice offers more peace in 2024, it's important to recognize that both have their place. For those who are seeking a deeper relationship with God, Psalm 23 provides a powerful foundation of peace through faith and surrender. For those looking to cultivate mental discipline and emotional balance, mindfulness offers a practical tool for finding peace in the present moment. Ultimately, the path to peace is not about choosing one practice over the other, but about embracing the practices that resonate most deeply with our spiritual needs and personal journeys. As we move into the final comparison of these two paths, we'll explore how both practices can be integrated into modern life, helping us navigate the challenges of 2024 and beyond, while offering us the peace we all seek. As we conclude our exploration of Psalm 23 and Buddhist mindfulness, it's important to reflect on the question, which of these practices brings more inner peace in 2024? The world today is different from when these traditions were first established. Modern life is filled with technological distractions, global uncertainty, and an increasing sense of disconnection. Mental health issues like anxiety and depression are on the rise, and people are searching for ways to cope with the stress of daily life. In this context, both Psalm 23 and mindfulness have something profound to offer, yet they each approach the search for inner peace from unique angles. Psalm 23 offers peace through faith in God's provision and care. The trust in God's guidance and the comfort of His presence resonate deeply, especially in today's chaotic world. In a society where we are often told to find peace through achievement, control, and self-sufficiency, Psalm 23 reminds us that peace is not something we can force, but something we must receive by surrendering to God's will and trusting in His sovereignty. The Christian path to peace, as found in Psalm 23, offers a sense of security that is grounded in a relationship with God. It is peace that is rooted in God's faithfulness, not in our ability to control the outcomes of our lives. Buddhist mindfulness, on the other hand, offers a path to peace that is more self-directed. Mindfulness emphasizes being present, cultivating awareness, and letting go of attachment to the self and to outcomes. In a world where we are constantly rushing, multitasking, and consumed with worries about the future or regrets about the past, mindfulness offers a way to return to the present moment. It teaches us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, creating space between ourselves and our reactions. Mindfulness can be incredibly effective for reducing stress and anxiety, as it helps individuals detach from their overwhelming emotions and regain a sense of clarity and calm. So, which path offers more peace in 2024? The answer depends largely on your perspective and where you are in your spiritual journey. For those who already have a deep relationship with God, Psalm 23 provides profound comfort and peace through surrender to God's care and guidance. It offers a sense of security that can't be found in self-reliance or control. For those seeking a practical tool to cope with the demands of modern life, mindfulness provides an accessible way to cultivate inner peace through awareness and emotional regulation. It's a tool that anyone, regardless of their religious background, can use to navigate the stress and distractions of daily life. Ultimately, both practices offer valuable insights into how to find peace, but they do so in different ways. Psalm 23 offers peace through surrender to God's will and trust in His provision, while Buddhist mindfulness offers peace through self-awareness and detachment from the ego. Both are effective, but they speak to different spiritual and emotional needs. What's crucial, however, is that both paths lead to peace. They just require different approaches. Psalm 23 teaches us that peace comes from trusting in God's guidance and provision, while mindfulness teaches us that peace comes from cultivating awareness and detachment. Each practice offers a different approach, but both help us move toward a place of greater tranquility and emotional resilience. For many people, a combination of these practices could be the key to experiencing lasting inner peace. As we face the challenges of 2024, we need to consider how to integrate these practices into our daily lives. The good news is that both Psalm 23 and mindfulness can be integrated into our routines in practical, meaningful ways. For Christians, incorporating Psalm 23 into daily life might involve starting the day with a prayer of surrender, asking God for His guidance and trusting in His provision. It might involve meditating on the promises of Psalm 23 in moments of stress, finding peace in the knowledge that God is with us through every difficulty. Mindfulness, on the other hand, can be practiced throughout the day. It doesn't require hours of meditation, but can be incorporated into any moment. Whether you're drinking a cup of coffee, taking a walk, or responding to an email, you can practice mindfulness by being fully present in the moment, paying attention to your thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them. It's a tool that helps you find peace even in the midst of chaos, bringing you back to the present moment and allowing you to release unnecessary stress and worry. The key to peace in 2024, it seems, is not in finding the right practice, but in finding the practice that resonates most deeply with your needs. If you're someone who finds comfort in trusting God's guidance, Psalm 23 may provide you with the peace you're looking for. If you're seeking a way to regain control over your thoughts and emotions in a world full of distractions, mindfulness may offer the clarity and calm you need. And for some, combining both practices may be the key to living in a state of inner peace that transcends the turmoil of the world around us. As we close, it's important to recognize that both Psalm 23 and mindfulness offer us something invaluable in our search for peace. They remind us that peace is not something we can control or force, but something we receive, whether through trust in God's guidance or through awareness of the present moment. In a world where stress and anxiety are common companions, we can find solace in knowing that both paths offer a way to calm the storm within. Whether you are drawn to the faith and trust found in Psalm 23, or the clarity and stillness offered through mindfulness, remember that peace is within reach. In the end, true peace comes from knowing that we are not alone. Whether it's through trusting God's promises or through cultivating an inner awareness of the present moment. Peace is available to all of us. It's about finding the path that helps you connect to that peace, whether it's through the love of God or the stillness of the present moment. The answer to the question, which brings more inner peace in 2024, is not just about one practice over the other. It's about the willingness to embrace peace wherever it can be found.